So if I said to you Genesis 44:18 to 47:27, what are you talking about, Rabbi? It's this week's Torah portion. And you know it if you saw Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. This is the climax. This is one of the more emotional and memorable scenes in the entire Torah you're facing. It's the scene when Joseph and his brothers are reunited. Remember that? Joseph, the spoiled brat as a kid, gets thrown into a pit, goes through a lot. He's now become the second most powerful official in Egypt. He's understandably reeling from what his brothers had done to him earlier. And if you come to Torah study tomorrow, just go home tonight and read Genesis 44:18 on. The emotional tension is overwhelming. If you want to see a book where men cry, just read the Bible. Joseph, in particular, he actually has broken down crying twice before this moment. First, when he heard his brother describe the agonies of Joseph's sale into slavery, and when Joseph first sets eyes on his baby brother Benjamin. You may recall that only Joseph and Benjamin shared the same mother, Rachel. And Rachel died, giving birth to Benjamin. And now the moment Joseph can no longer contain himself. What's fascinating here is that after Joseph says, "I am Joseph, your brother," after all these years, the brothers are completely speechless. Now you may say, of course they are. He's going to kill him. But no, even when Joseph reassures the brothers that God sent him to Egypt to save them from the famine, and that he holds no grudges. I was reading this as I heard the news of Mandela's death, and how he didn't hold grudges against the white Afrikaners who imprisoned him for over 25 years. He says, "I am Joseph, your brother." And only after Joseph reassures them that this is all part of a plan we couldn't see when we were kids, but now that we're older, this is how the comedian came up with the joke of how a Jew claps with one hand. You know how a Jew claps with one hand? Oh, I get it. Only then are they able to communicate with Joseph. It struck me how timeless this text is in the way each of us comforts and in the way each of us, hopefully at holiday times, reconcile. Whether the emotional matter is a long-held grudge between friends, a family feud, which isn't just the name of a TV show, a sorrowful experience or a painful situation. Sometimes the most powerful words we can ever communicate are not even words at all, because the only time the brothers speak after Joseph reveals himself is after he hugs them. And this time, he hugs the neck of baby brother Benjamin. Sometimes it's our embrace. If it's a child at the Child Advocacy Center, the counselors there will tell you these victims of abuse appreciate the gift of a teddy bear to help them heal. Sometimes after a death, it's just our presence, not any words, which matter more than anything else. And in Joseph's case, and it's great that a guy does this, because usually girls are much better at being present with their emotions and feelings, generally speaking, than in men. But in Joseph's case, it was his gesture of embrace, which opens up the healing process with his siblings and paved the way. Now, as if this scene wasn't emotional enough, what's coming are two more scenes in which Father Jacob, before he dies, is going to bless his two grandchildren and then his children. And these are the first recorded ethical wills in history. The sharing of what really matters, not your jewelry, but what you stand for, from an elder to his or her heirs. And I just want to say two brief words about this, because they remind me of Mildred Schwartz as we prepare to bless her. Jacob's last ethical will, he says to his grandchildren, and just a few seats away from what were small boys and now grown grand men. Jacob says, may future generations bless their children by saying, may God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. That's how you're supposed to bless all your boys on Friday nights. Why? Were these the greatest Jews of antiquity, Ephraim and Manasseh? Why don't we hope that our boys become like Abraham, Isaac, or Moses? Well, one explanation is that Ephraim and Manasseh were the first Jews to be raised outside the land of Israel, and yet they remain loyal Jews. It's like a girl from some town in Louisiana, or some men or women from Memphis, Tennessee, living their lives outside the land of Israel and remaining loyal Jews, as Mildred has her entire life. But that's not the other reason. The other reason we're supposed to bless our children in the name of Ephraim and Manasseh is because, according to the rabbis, and I think they're right if you check them on this, these were the first two siblings who ever got along. And what greater wish could there be for a parent that a brother and sister like you and yours, that each of us emulate that kind of brotherly and sisterly love. And so, with that, Mildred Schwartz has been a natural leader and a woman of great warmth and innate kindness her entire life. Now, I don't presume or claim the most yichus of having had my life touched by her. In fact, looking at it, I feel somewhat inadequate. Not only Rabbi Danziger, but so many relatives here have known you, Mildred. But thank God for the impact you've had on my life and our temple archives. I didn't know you met Max when you were 6 years old until I read that this week in the archives. I didn't know that you founded the STP sorority with a group of friends. I did know that you were one of the prides of Hebrew High, Central High School being the first high school had an H on it. And I'm told that because there were so many illustrious Jews there, including you, they called it Hebrew High. Everyone who's ever lived, not just in Memphis, but my in-laws in Montgomery, Alabama, my mother-in-law knew about you from the National Council of Jewish Women nationally. And of course, everyone knows about you in Memphis and at Temple Israel. You paved the way, not just as the first female president. I think it's fair to say that you've always been ahead of your time. And like the Jewish people, Mildred, who always emphasize quality over quantity, this loving and kind daughter of Julius and Vivian, which is Vicky's real name. I finally got it. She's named for your mother. Quality over quantity. You've made family the center of your life. from your brother, Alvin, Boots, and your son, Jerry, of blessed memory, to your daughter, Vivian, Vicky, Carrie, and all these grandchildren, especially the ones who used to attend these services every week with Vicky and Mildred, the pool boys. But while the family has decided to honor Mildred on this 95th birthday tonight, and we pay tribute to her, Mildred, you're the one who's always thinking of others. I might as well blow the secret. Ever since, maybe you did this with Rabbi Danziger, but when I succeeded Rabbi Danziger, you send me emails every week just about people I should call who I otherwise wouldn't know about, because you hear things that even the doctors at the hospital don't know. And 40 years ago, you were doing the same thing for everybody at Temple. I found this in the archives, a letter from 40 years ago, almost, February of 1975. It's a thank you note from Joe Boston. Dear Mildred, how nice of you to remember me during my illness. It's your kind of thoughtfulness which makes my days brighter and my recovery quicker. And you are only 55 years old then. I think each of us has learned. And so, if you'll come forward now, Mildred, for a special blessing. Mildred, there are birthdays, and then there are birthdays. Age 95 is like being on a mountaintop. You can view your life looking back on all the stages and realize not just how far you have to go, even though, compared to Frankie of blessed memory and Edith, who's still with us, you're still in the youth group. But you've reached the age where you can appreciate also how far you've come for all of us, experiencing more than most people can ever hope for or imagine. You are as young as your faith, as old as your doubt. You are as young as your spirit, Mildred, as old as your fear. You are as young as your hope, as old as your despair, which means, Mildred, you're 95 years young. And it's not simply because of the chronological significance of the years, but it's because of all the achievement and distinction, how dearly loved you are by so many and for so long, which in turn makes me feel so deeply proud to offer this blessing on behalf of everyone here and everyone not here. Elohim Chaim, ever-living God, thank you for all the years. Dear God, keep alive and continue growing within Mildred, her and your resilience, compassion, understanding, friendship, patience, and love. Thank you, God, for giving all of us such a role model, precious friend, and blessing in Mildred Schwartz. Bless her and her loved ones with many years of added health and joy. And let us all say, Amen. Let us all shout Mazel Tov.
Can I say a few words?
You may say a few words right now, but before you do, just not that you need it, I want to make sure I don't forget this. Since Mildred tutors our bar and bat mitzvah students and has a love for Jewish education and learning for kids, her family has chosen to honor her by starting a scholarship fund to assist future bar and bat mitzvah students who qualify for need with their training fee. And we're honored to be the stewards of this lovely gesture. And just want to assure you, Mildred, and your extended family, that they're going to do so much good for all those sweet cherubs you've been helping through the years. Mildred, let me give you this microphone.
Just a few words, really. But I do want to thank Rabbi Greenstein for those very flattering and complimentary remarks he made, and for the beautiful blessing. I don't know that I deserve it all, but I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I want to thank all of you for being here tonight in such horrible weather circumstances. I am so blessed to have so many good friends, a wonderful family, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I especially want to thank the hosts for tonight's Kiddush, which I hope all of you will enjoy. I know you will. My daughter, Vicky, with her sons, Brian and Joel. My daughter-in-law, Carrie, with the twins, Max and Ellie. My niece and nephew in Nashville, Mickey and Sylvia Solomon. My cousins, Louise and Jerry Sklar. And my extended family daughters, Beth Stingle and Laura Gagne. Laura has been the assistant caterer through all of this, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I also want to thank my entire family for establishing the Mildred Schwartz Scholarship Fund. As Micah has told you, these funds will be used to help bar and bat mitzvah children who need financial assistance and who qualify. It's a gift that I can't imagine I would ever receive. It's one of the best gifts I've ever received in my life. I have been so blessed, and I thank you all, and I thank each of you and my wonderful family, and I want to thank you for being a blessing.
Mazel tov.